Hi, and welcome to day 3 of the 30-day digital challenge. Now, we're aiming to reach 1 million views, and I'm so pleased to say that we're on track. Last look, we had about 80,000 views across Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And today I'm coming to you live from the Professional Speakers Academy in Gatwick. It's our quarterly meeting, and so I've just taken a little time out to share with you some how-to tips for dominating the search engines. Now, please help us on our mission by commenting, liking, and sharing these tips to your friends and colleagues. Help us reach our 1 million views. Hopefully, we'll smash it. Want to start off really and just get into how to appear in search. It's probably the most talked about subject in digital marketing. So let's look at Google first of all. Now, in search, let's consider where your traffic's coming from. Now, it tends to be coming obviously from search engines like Google. And we know that with web traffic, search engines are generally sort of providing the majority of the free traffic. Now, the good news is that if you're already appearing in Google, that Google reaches 90% of the internet's audience. Now, I'm often asked whether we should be sort of looking at appearing in Bing and Yahoo. Now, the thing is if you optimize your content for Google anyway, generally your content will do. Now, with things like Bing, it's probably wise to consider that if Google's reaching 90% of the internet's audience, that should be your priority. Now, don't tell anyone, but we've actually nicknamed Bing, but it's not Google. Nothing against Bing, it's just purely because the reach that we want to get. Now, let's have a look at where you should be appearing. Let's consider if you are on page 2. Now, if you're not appearing on page 1, one big thing is you'll be losing out to your traffic, to your competitors. Absolutely, 100%. Now, what's the problem with that? Well, a lot of people who maybe are not working in sort of the digital industries, they're concentrating on sort of, other channels. They might be looking at things like social media. But if search is one of your largest traffic drivers, even if you sell, for instance, combine harvesters, you've got to consider that even if you did a search on Google, would you pick the company on page 2? Probably not. So it's critical, especially in 2018, that your business appears on page 1 for all of your key terms. So your company name, obviously, and your key searches for things like your products and services. Now, your website is probably going to kind of provide the positioning for your pages in search. Now, if you remember, in day 1, we talked about blogging. Blogging is a great opportunity of driving free traffic because 25% of searches that happen on Google are for a product, a service, or brand. But 9 times out of 10, to be honest, when we're searching on Google, we don't even know what we're looking for. So the biggest opportunity lies with what consumers do on Google. 75% of us are trying to find a pain or a solution. We don't know what we're looking for. So, for instance, if I was looking for a new projector, unless I was some sort of projector enthusiast, which I'm not, I wouldn't type in Sanyo 47321. I'd be doing something like a search for best projectors. So try and think about position your business, not just for your products and services and your brand name, but also positioning content, because at the end of the day, you, if you present, say, blog content into search engines, it's free traffic. And think about it like, for every blog that you create, it's like buying a new house on Google. So the more property, obviously, the more land you own and the more visible you are. So the whole reasoning for digital marketing is that we're all battling and vying to increase our digital marketing presence. So let's consider when you do a search on Google. Now, what we have at the top is Google Ads. And then underneath that, we have what we call organic listings. Now, they're free. Now, when we do a search and type in our keywords, the most important thing to understand is how much traffic for that search will go to that first positioning. Well, about half of it, between 40 and 50%, will click on that number 1 listing. Now, if you think about the adverts at the top, they're probably absorbing maybe like 20% of the traffic. Now, it goes even lower. When you get to sort of position 3, you're down to about 8% of that traffic. So if you found out that, there was a key term, 1,000 people who search for that term every day, every month, or whatever. If you're not at the top, you're not consuming or getting the benefit from the traffic. Your competitors are. Now, one thing to consider if you're doing pay-per-click adverts, so the adverts at the top, Google AdWords, please, please, please make sure that the advert goes to a landing page, because the cost pay-per-click is very expensive if you're just going to drive people to a homepage. We want to run uber specific campaigns. So what you can do is you can position an advert, you can give free content, they land on a landing page, and then hopefully they might express an interest and give you their email in exchange of maybe a free guide or PDF or something, which means that the return on investment is far better because they've not just landed on your site and left without leaving you a lead. Now, non-paid advertising, obviously in search engines, is just your organic. So search engine marketing, we often refer to as pay-per-click. That's the top ads and that's paid. But the process of SEO is your free positioning. You don't have to appear, don't have to pay, to appear in the search ranking for Google. And why do we want to appear in Google? Well, Google is the #1 search engine. It does have the market share, and as I said, it reaches 90% of the internet's audience. But Google is getting about 40,000 searches every single second. Now, this is where people hang out. It's often the first thing we do. We maybe pick up a mobile device, we go to a Google search, we're looking for something. It's one of our key research areas. Now, if in a day there's 3.5 billion searches, that's a huge opportunity to drive traffic to your business. Now, I'm often asked, where did Google come from? Well, Google has been around with us since 1996 and was invented by Larry Page and Sergey Brin. Now, one of the facts for today is Google didn't start off being called Google. No, it was actually called Backrub. Now, I think probably Google's a more apt name, but the reason it was renamed is actually a play on a mathematical expression called a googol, G-O-O-G-O-L, which is 1 plus 100 zeros. Now, the reason they chose that was because obviously Google was pulling a vast amount of information, so it seemed to fit the bill. And because of obviously the two creators, it was renamed. Now, it actually came from a research project. And obviously now, thinking back to when we started first using it, I don't know if we could actually survive without Google. It's one of the things that we do all of the time. We spend probably most of our lives using the internet, and we'd be lost without it. Email accounts are a big part of our working day, checking our emails. We spend a lot of our time on search. As we know, there's obviously 40,000 searches per second. But where else do we spend our time? Well, social media. Now, social media also allows you to dominate the search engines because what happens? Well, you get the ability to have another piece of property in Google for free. So what we're looking for is to dominate search engines. The biggest thing I can say to you is the more places you can appear on the web, the better, that drive back to you. Now, that process is called backlinking. And when we go into the wonderful world of SEO tomorrow, we're going to be demystifying the art of SEO. Now, one thing that amazes people is when I say it takes 60 seconds to actually optimize a page to appear in Google. Now, why do people not get traffic who are appearing in Google? Well, quite simply, probably because there's no demand for what they've actually created. So, in tomorrow's session, what we're going to be looking at is how to optimize a page. One of the things I'd like you to do today is go to a tool called Google Trends. Now, what we can do here is you can find out what is trending for your business and your topics, and you can start to see what's popular. So, for instance, I had a look today, and digital marketing trends for 2018 is a key search. Now, we've included that in one of our hot topics for the 30-day challenge, and that's actually how we put together all of the topics that we're going to cover in the 30-day challenge, because we wanted to find out what people were searching for, what was the demand, what did people want to find tips and training for. So One other tool I'd like you to go and have a look for is often we have people who say, Dawn, we're blogging, we've come on your course, it was fantastic, we're blogging away, but we're still not getting traffic. Now, when I go and have a look at that blog and the content looks amazing and there's visuals and formatting, well, that's great. But what's the crucial thing that's missing? There's no demand. So I would like you to go to Google Keyword Planner, type in your key searches, and what it will do is Google will tell you how many searches for that particular term there was each and every month. Now, the clue is that if you're looking to dominate the search engines and drive abundance of traffic to your website, if you match your content to what people are searching for, then the chances are that people will obviously see your content, drive traffic to you. And the great news about that is these tools are free. So you just need to go to Google, type in Google Trends, go and have a look at what's trending in your industry, see if there's a peak in the rise, because often, sometimes like a subject that we can look at. So for instance, messenger marketing, that's a key search at the moment. So we've highlighted that as a key trend to follow for 2018 and what artificial intelligence is going to bring. So once you've done that, as I say, go to Google Keyword Tool Planner. And what you can do, type in your keyword, find out the volumes. At the end of the day, there's no point writing something or creating a blog or putting any effort into it if nobody wants it. So once you start matching content to demand, that brings a really, really nice opportunity, because you can obviously keep up to date with obviously things that are happening in the world. Now, yesterday I spoke about a tool called Google Alerts. Now, this is another great tool that you can go and have a look at in terms of trying to dominate the search engines, because you can spy on your competitors and you can find out what they're writing about, and you can get an alert as soon as they publish something on the web. So another great tip for dominating the search engines is, if there's something key in your industry that comes out, say, in the news, don't just report the news. Turn the news into, what does it mean for them? So for instance, say when LinkedIn was bought for 26 billion by Microsoft, everyone was reporting it. Now, the people who took the opportunity to actually tell people what that meant in the business and how that was going to impact, now that was what we wanted to see. And that got the most engagement and the most reads. So if you have got time tomorrow, please tune in at 1 o'clock. If you don't have time to visit the live learning at 1 o'clock, don't worry. If you join the group, we're going to put all the recordings in there. Now, the other thing is, if there's any topics you would like us to cover, of course, comment and let us know. You can tell us any topics that are not on the list. You can also visit the group and see all of the topics for the next 30 days. So please join the challenge, and obviously you can spread the word to your friends and colleagues by sharing. Sharing is after all caring. Now, if you like the page, that means you'll get a notification all of the time when we go live. So please have a wonderful weekend and join us tomorrow on Facebook live at 1 o'clock for Demystifying the Dark Art of SEO. Have a great weekend. Take care, everyone. Bye.